Hey guys, coming up for Girl Meets World, Season 2, Episode 28, Girl Meets Communism, and I don't have much to say about this episode, I really don't. I didn't really know what this episode was going to be, I have to say, because I knew the plot of this episode and things like that. I'm just waiting for the last two episodes at this point, because again, you guys are going to hear me say it, that once again we had another out-of-place episode. This episode was made in 2014, it was supposed to air as the 6th episode of Season 2, and for whatever reason, it was aired out of order. Why are they doing this? I don't understand this, okay? I understand Disney Channel does this, but why? Why do you want to air your shows out of order? What that does is get people upset. It gets people stop watching. People don't care. They don't know when it's on. I mean, it really confuses everyone. You have a really interesting storyline going on right now with Riley, Lucas, and Maya, and them looking to the future, and yet we focused on this episode. It just doesn't really work that every other week is an episode that's out of order. I'm not a fan of it, and I really hope for Season 3 they don't do this because it's really getting annoying, and I really hope this stops soon. That being said, let's talk about this episode. This was an okay episode. It really wasn't, I think, that great of an episode because of the type of show that this show is. Basically, this episode revolved around Corey is teaching the class about communism, the idea of it, what it was all about, how, like, everyone stuck together and wanted to be their own way and, not try to stand out individually, which is something that you talk about in history class. I have no problem with that part of the episode. It's just the episode revolved around Maya and Farkle cheating off a test, and basically Riley suddenly wants to stand with them because she doesn't think they really did anything wrong and starts to believe in communism. And that really made no sense to me. How do we go from Maya and Farkle cheating to Riley believing in communism? That really didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I don't really know why they did this, and the rest of the episode is pretty much a court case, sort of, but it's like student-based court case because Corey was already having the class do something about it. We basically learned that, what was going on, that Farkle, Maya cheated, most likely cheat off of Farkle. We think that's what's going on. And it just, for me at least, I don't know. A lot of this really didn't work. Riley suddenly deciding that communism was the way to approach this. That really didn't work for me. And I also have to say, this episode really wasn't particularly funny. I didn't really find a lot of funny jokes in this episode. There were some funny things here and there, like Maya imitating Farkle. I thought that was funny. Zay was in this episode, which is unusual because we haven't seen Zay in a while, and finally he was back. But this was back in episode 6 when Zay wasn't really as relevant, so it just felt out of place for Zay to be here in the beginning of the episode. And then the joke with him about the exorcism. I mean, Zay really wasn't a big part of this show till I'd say Girl Meets Yearbook. That's really when they started to incorporate him more. That's when they started to do more with him, and here, I don't know, it just, for me at least, it didn't exactly work. I mean, I don't really know why he was in this episode. He didn't really need to be. The episode really started to pick up for me once Topanga was introduced, because Topanga, of course, is a lawyer. They put her on the stand. It was very funny to see Topanga against Corey. I definitely like seeing that, and her taking their side, but I did like the way Topanga approached this, because she really looked at every side of what was going on, where was what was going on with Riley, that Riley blocked Maya from cheating on Farkle, so she possibly couldn't have done that, and Riley could have cheated as well, and basically that's what we learned, that Riley, in fact, did cheat off of Farkle, and that's basically what happened there, and, I like that Topanga was the one that helped them out with this. I definitely like seeing that. I thought that was definitely very well done. And basically, I really did like the ending of this episode. That's really the one thing I do want to talk about. Also, of course, Farkle, you can tell this is a date episode because Farkle's voice hasn't dropped. He doesn't have his growth spurt. He doesn't look like Donnie Barnes. I mean, this is clearly an older episode, and you can definitely tell, and it's just annoying. It really is. I mean, on a show like this, yes, it's not a serial show, but you have a very interesting plot going on right now, and they're not really doing anything with the last time we saw some that was Girl Meets New Year, and I'm really looking forward to next week's episode because finally we're going to get to what I want to see, which is all about them looking to the future, looking to high school, because that's what Season 3 is going to be. I don't need more filler episodes. That's exactly what this is. It was a filler episode. But basically, I did really like the ending of this episode. That was like the one thing I really did enjoy. Corey basically tells the class that he gives them all back their papers and says to them, he gives Zay an A, he gives Lucas an A, but he gives Maya, Riley, and Farkle a C because they didn't really do the work, and that it just comes across as average because they all copied the same thing. And I think he really does have a point. I mean, copying someone's work is one of the easiest things anyone can do. You could simply just go into someone else's work and just look at what they're doing and then copy it. The problem is it's not your own work. It's not how you actually feel about the situation. You're just doing someone else's work and it's really easy to do and it just comes across as average. You don't come across as a good student that way. You just come across as a student that doesn't give a shit and just wants to get stuff over with. And I will say that I've had things where people have cheated off papers, things like that. You copy off homework, that's different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about copying off a test or copying off a paragraph or something like that. That's supposed to be your own work, and to have someone else copy off it is something that is probably one of the worst things you could do because they're stealing your ideas, they're ruining what you're really doing, and I think that really is what Corey was trying to say, and I really like that. And then the ending where you saw them get out of the communist things that they were wearing, which that was absolutely ridiculous. I thought they took this way too far with them wearing the communist hats and then the jackets. I mean, it went way too far, definitely. And especially because of the fact that these kids are young. They don't really know what communism really is about, and I don't really think that kids would understand it. And I know the kids can be really smart nowadays, but I just don't really know why the show felt like it needed to tackle this subject. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. I did like the ending, though, where Riley finally pledged allegiance to the flag, believing in America and what it's all about, and that everyone needs to be free and be their own person. And then when he said, Mr. Fryer, turn down this wall, of course, that is a famous line. I love that part. I thought that was really great. I really like that overall. It's just, this plot in general really didn't work for me. I don't know why the show, like I said, felt like they had to tackle it. It didn't seem like something that would work, and it really, in my opinion, didn't really work. I was not a huge fan of it. The ending, like I said, was really good, but other than that, it just wasn't really working for me. I don't really know, again, why the show had to tackle this subject. That didn't really seem like something that they needed to do, and it seemed like they just did it because they just needed a filler episode, and that really isn't, I think, the way to go with this. So really, that did not work for me. Now, I did notice one thing that was interesting. If you saw Sabrina Carpenter's sister, Sarah Carpenter, her last name in the show is Carpenter, which I kind of found kind of interesting, kind of a nice little Easter egg there. Let's get to the subplot, though, with Augie, which I like the subplot in this episode because it introduced some interesting stuff, but it wasn't that much different from other Augie subplots, which was just, again, a throwaway. It really was. In fact, I don't really think it was necessary. I understand the point of it, it just didn't really do much for me. Augie basically is depressed. He doesn't really know what to do. He wants to do something with his life, and for whatever reason, he decides he wants to imitate Topanga and be a lawyer because she's very successful. And there is this girl that is basically Ava's rival because she also likes Augie, basically. Emma Weathersby, which I did like the conflict between these two, but I don't really think we really got into it. We were just introduced to this girl, and then it kind of just went away because then we focus on Frankie Big Hands, who is this class bully, basically, that Augie has to basically, take down and defend, and basically he was trying to be a lawyer in this whole thing, and it just didn't really come together. I really felt like this was out of place. It didn't really, I think, go with the episode that much, and again, that didn't really work for me either. So overall, guys, this episode I really thought was pointless. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I don't really know why it need to air. A lot of these episodes that they've been airing, they don't need to air. That's why this season is so long, because there've been so many fillers, like Girl Meets Fish, Girl Meets Commonism, just so many fillers, too many name that did not need to be here, and I don't know why they really felt like they needed to do this episode. It didn't really work for me. Girl Meets Belief, Girl Meets STEM, things like that. These episodes did not need to be here. They didn't really work for me, and they don't need to keep doing these filler episodes, and I'm tired of them doing them. Because, like I said, we have a really interesting plot point, and then they just do this. I don't understand why they need to do this. It was silly to begin with. I knew it was going to last one episode, and I just don't really feel they needed to go into this direction. It didn't really work for me at all. Like I said, the episode I didn't really think was that funny either. So overall, guys, not a huge fan of this episode. Can't wait for next week's episode. The next week's episode I've heard is amazing. Girl Meets the Bay Window. I know there's a way to watch it. I just can't find how. If you guys can tell me where I can watch it, because I know there are people that have already watched the episode, let me know, because I really do want to watch it. It's probably like my most anticipated episode for the rest of the season, that and the finale, of course. But if you guys know how I can watch the episode, please let me know because I do really want to watch it. I just don't know where I can watch it. I want to seek it out. But I can't wait for that episode because finally we're going to be talking about, the future and Riley wanting to change things. And that really is going to get us into the third season. Then the finale, I heard, is going to go back to the whole Riley, Maya, Lucas thing that's going on right now. But let me know what you guys saw this episode. Like I said, not a fan of it. Didn't really enjoy it. Didn't really find it funny. Don't really know why the show tackled this subject. It just felt a bit weird for this show to do that. I mean, it's not usually a political show, and I don't really think the show really did much with it, so what was really the point? That's basically my review. Hope you enjoy it. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for a movie review, and then we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.